Hey Cancers, welcome back to Deku Tarot and welcome to your weekly tarot and astrology for July 13th through the 19th of 2020. Happy birthday to all of my Cancers who have celebrated and especially those who are celebrating this week. I hope it's going to be a good one. The energies have been so much. I'm sure you guys know it's been intense. It feels like the news and things that are coming out is just a constant flow of information and things changing and things happening, and it's all happening during your season. For a better look at the astrology, do check out White Light Astrology. I think he does a really good job of explaining really what's going on, especially in his July overview. So check that out because it's really hard to even get into what's going on. So we're going to kind of bypass the astrology this week and get right into your reading here with the Usi Pagan Otherworlds Tarot. And if you guys haven't, do make sure to subscribe. Do make sure to share the video if you enjoyed it. Give me a like and leave me a comment. I love to hear from you guys. Alrighty, so Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Let's look at this week ahead and just kind of read through these energies because you guys have been feeling it for a lot of reasons for a long time already. And especially, you know, just after coming off of an eclipse, or well, sort of an eclipse, it kind of was like a mini eclipse, but a full moon in Capricorn, and before that we had an eclipse in your sign. We had eclipse in the new south node of Sagittarius. It hasn't been a walk in the park. Let's just say that. And this has really tugged on your energy that you really wanted to be able to relax in your birth month. You wanted things to go smoother. You were like, okay, well, my birthday's coming up. Cancer season's going to be here. It's going to be better. And I was hoping for the same thing, being a Cancer rising. I really look forward to Cancer season. And it has been a test of, will you go and crawl back in your shell and wait until everything passes? Or will you take an active participation in these changes? Oof, your cards. Let's talk about what we have on the table and then we'll pull out a few more. Five of Swords was your first card out. And yeah, there's a lot of conflict, a lot of feeling like there's just fighting. There's so much fighting going on. Let's just talk about this line of energy and how you guys are reacting to it, how you're feeling about it, and how it's affecting you. We also have Mars and Aries right now, and as someone with Mars and Aries, it's definitely amping up. I can feel that it's been really amping up how we communicate, and we're communicating in a much more fiery way. We're a lot more combative, a lot more defensive, and ready to take the sword to the throat at any opportunity. And even when we don't mean it, the way that we're coming across might come across as very harshly intense, straightforward, even if we don't mean it. So watching out for that is going to be important, and watching out for that in others, and learning when to not get offended, which is really hard when we have a Mercury retrograde in your sign and the sun in your sign. So I can't really tell you to not be hurt by these things, because obviously with this Five of Swords, we could get hurt in some fights this week. We could have discussions that turn ugly, or disagreements with friends, coworkers, and maybe even our love interests or our partners here that are a little harsher than we wanted them to be. Yeah. And you're going to feel really out of your depth with it. So just be careful of that this week. I do see conflicts arising, and I feel in a lot of ways you're going to feel like, wow, this is totally not fair. This is unjust. I don't understand why, you're flipping out like this. I don't understand why you took this way. I don't really get where this came from. It doesn't feel fair. And about a lot of things, we're not feeling like it's very fair to us right now. And I think Cancer, especially being on the bottom of, the astrological wheel in the houses, you guys sit right at that, grounded, rooted bottom there. And a lot of people, especially, in friendships, relationships, see Cancers and use Cancers, maybe not even knowingly, as a grounding presence in their lives, as what roots them, as what's going to keep them grounded, rooted, secure. You're the security blanket, you're the fixer, you're the person that people turn to when they need to get things grounded and back in control. It's that nurturing energy that we're always able to fix it. We're always able to set the situation straight, get back on solid ground, which is interesting being, you know, a water sign, but cardinal water. You do have some really progressive moments this week, though. The World, the Ace of Swords. This to me is a big moment of success and a big moment where we're realizing our values, who we are, and our goals here are really changing. There's a lot of learned information and, how do I say this? Mercury retrograde, I cannot wait for this to end. It's very hard to put these feelings into words, and I feel like, I hope other readers and stuff are experiencing that. I don't hope, but I assume other readers are experiencing this as well. See, I can't get my point across, but there's this learned energy, and I feel, you know, with so much information, like I was saying in the beginning, so much information coming out, so much news, so much that's like, hey, we need to reevaluate this. I mean, it's all this Jupiter and Capricorn energy here that's like, this is unsustainable, it's not going to work, you know, but it's a need that I need to take care of. And this is happening, you know, in a global way, and in terms of governments, and in terms of social change and justice change, and so many things. I feel like I wake up every day and like I can't even like tell you, right before I sat down for this video, it was like all this information just like flooding in from the news, and I was like, I gotta shut this off. I don't know where this is all coming from. I just need to step back and look at this from a different perspective. Step back and really look at where I'm placing this and what I'm gonna do with all this information now. And I think that in a lot of ways, that's what you guys are trying to do amidst all this energy. You're trying to like hold some type of normalcy, some type of, you know, baseline here amidst all this craziness. And I think that there's a really amazing way that you're able to work through that this week. Yeah, there's frustrations. Yeah, there's fighting. And yeah, a lot of it is that Mars and Aries energy right there. I've got something to say, and I'm not going to shut up until I've said it, and I've said it louder than everybody else. And I don't care how it comes across. You're going to listen to it, and that's that. But on the other flip side of it, there's this slower, quieter, more calm part of you that's very clear in what we're able to see and divine from what we're learning this week, what we're able to take from these situations. It's almost like writing a new book for yourself, writing a new chapter for yourself here. And I think that that's really amazing. You've changed in some really essential, rooted, grounded ways here in terms of how you're thinking, how you're, you know, going to go about things moving forward, how we're going to stick up for what is right, and how you're going to stick up for yourself and your needs and what you believe in, rather than let people, you know, kind of walk all over us. And I'm not saying that, you know, you exactly do that, but we're going to hear out other people and, you know, maybe be quiet because I don't want to cause a fight. But that's not the energy right now. It's, I hear what you're saying, I disagree, these are the reasons, let's tussle here. But the Hierophant is learned, not like you're coming from a place of truly gained, based in reality knowledge here. And we're learning a lot also about these huge structures in our lot that have, you know, affected us. Huge structures in the world that are changing all of a sudden. And there's a lot. Let me find, like, let's let the cards let the cards put words in my mouth, because words are hard in this retrograde for me. Yeah, what do we need to fix? Like I was saying, if this is, there's been things like our government, schools, our hospitals, you know, everything really right now is like under scrutiny and saying these are, again, not sustainable. It's Jupiter and Capricorn saying, hey, we need to fix these things before we move on. That's why we're retrograding through it, and it's giving us this chance to really look at these structures that are so traditional, so base, and saying these aren't, again, they're not sustainable, they're not secure, they're gonna topple, it's not working out for everybody. So let's take what we've learned here and move forward with it. Let's see a new path here moving forward based on, you know, this hasn't worked. When the Seven of Pentacles shows up, it's something that has kind of paused in its growth. It's not going to grow anymore most of the time, unless, you know, you try at it. And there's a lot to be tried. There's a lot of effort that needs to be put into these areas. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And again, with Jupiter and Capricorn, it's the perfect time. But it feels to me, Cancer, that there's a lot of weight on you in this situation. You have an integral role to play in some change and in showing people the right way. And in changing how it's, yeah, exactly. You hold something that you don't even know yet. And by the end of this week, this will reveal itself, yes, with that Seven of Swords coming up. But I don't think you could see how the frustration, I don't think, like, you know, at the beginning of the week we're focused on different things, but by the end of it, you don't see how certain things are going to come to the surface, things that you've bottled up about how you've been dissatisfied. Again, it could be a relationship, it could be a lot of things. And for me, that's why I'm like, I feel like I'm saying all these global things and everything going on right now. Like, that's a huge factor for you right now as well. There's so much that we've been bottling up and not really confronting head on right away. It's like, I'm going to deal with this then, or I'm going to deal with this slowly. But I feel that there's kind of like a peak moment here. Yeah. And there's change. It's time to end an old way of doing things and end, you know, unsustainable parts of our life here that don't bring us anything, that aren't right, that don't put in what we put in. And it's like you're really dropping some toxic, again, relationships, people. You know, if you look at something and, you know, all it wants is power over you, whether that's a relationship, etc. You know, it wants you to give what you're giving, but it's not going to give that. Then it's taking power from you. It's trying to see how much power it can get from you, and that feels like more of a relationship thing this week. If you're dealing with, you know, one of those exes or situation, one of those Mercury retrograde love situations that always seem to come up, you're done with it this time. Like, there's a very different change in empowered Cancer, and I feel like this has been coming up in your weekly since the sun entered your sign, but it's transformed and you're done doing things in an unsatisfied way, not telling people why you're not happy about something and holding on to it for a later date and saying, you know, it's really not that bad, I guess I'll just deal with it. Oh, it's really not that bad, I guess I'll just take care of it this time. It's like, I'm not going to do that anymore. Like, I got to talk about what I feel has been, where I've been disrespected, where I felt, you know, the situation was unjust. And we're going to do something about it because this is how I feel. And I'm not mincing words with it right now. I'm being very upfront, straightforward, to the point. You know, this is what I need. This is what I'm going to do. What are you going to do about it? Very empowered. Let's get one more card here because I actually forgot to bring out my oracle. So we'll use this as kind of an oracle card here. Yeah, painful endings in some ways. Things that, or at times people, there's so many, oh my God, words. Let's comment. There's so many energies, like there's just so many lines of energies that it just feels like are slapping around right now, which is why I've not been able to, like, again, like I was talking about in the beginning a little, do the monthlies the way I used to do them. It's the energy, everything has changed, and I'm just trying to find a way to cope with all this. And I feel that you guys are in the same position here. There's things that have ended, things that have fallen apart, things that we've had to give up, goals we've had to give up, and relationships we've had to leave because we now realize that was not a healthy relationship and it wasn't going to ever give us what we've been putting in and what we've expected, what we deserve. So yeah, there's painful endings, but you also have to remember that dawn breaks over the Ten of Swords and brings in a new beginning, brings in a more empowered you after you've gone through the hardest things that you could have gone through. You're going to pull those 10 swords out, examine what's happened, feel the pain, yeah, for a second. You guys are good at that. It's like really getting in there, feeling it, trying to understand how it hits you, why it hits you, why it's there. There's just a lot here. And gosh, like I'm at like almost like a loss for words. And I feel like, again, you guys might even feel, even though we got Mars and Aries, that at some points, especially in the beginning of the week, you might have a loss for words. How do I talk about this? How do I bring this up? How do we talk about this? But by the end of the week, you won't be thinking about that because you'll just be talking about it, speaking, saying what needs to be said. All right, Cancer, you're really empowered. Don't let anybody or anything push you around. Get what you want this week. You can have it. I love you guys so much. If you want to book a private reading, all that information is in the description box below this video. Do check me out over on Instagram. And if you want to get your astrology chart analyzed, your birth chart analyzed, I can't say anything right, a compatibility analysis, numerology, Truly Divine is an amazing, amazing site that does all of that. Like, they did an incredible job with mine. Like, I'm still like going through and researching the charts that they've sent me and their analysis. So check them out. All that information is also in my description box below. And have a wonderful and blessed week, guys. Namaste.